Today's video is going to be taking place in Clayton, Louisiana, which had a population, they said in 2023, of 544 people. And I'm here today to visit the gravesite of a legend that was born about 7 miles away in Faraday, Louisiana. And of course, Faraday's not a very big town either. It was in 2023 estimated to have almost 3,000 people there. And this is my second visit to this cemetery, and I'll give you a little bit more information on that in just a moment. But as you can see, it's a very rural area, and you're not going to see a lot of houses and things. The grave site that I'll be visiting today is that of Jerry Lee Lewis, also known with the nickname The Killer. As I mentioned, Jerry Lee Lewis would be born in Faraday, Louisiana, but he would die at his home in Nesbit, Mississippi at the age of 87. As I mentioned, I came to this cemetery once before, and that was in April the 30th of 2023, and here it is almost 2 years later, February the 25th of 2025. And as you can see, the sign there says Indian Village Road. I'm showing you a picture of us coming in 2023 from the other side of the Indian Village Road, which was a very swampy looking area. Now on to the cemetery. As it's going to be a few more minutes before we get to the cemetery, I'll mention a few things about Jerry Lee Lewis. He was a piano player as well as a singer and a songwriter. And the piano playing he's legendary for, because he would often do crazy things around the piano. He would play it with his foot or his elbow, and he was even known to kick the bench away and play the piano standing up. And speaking of standing up, he's been known to get on top of the piano and do some singing there with his microphone. Jerry Lee's music was of many types. He was known for rock and roll, country, gospel, honky-tonk, blues, boogie woogie, and even the one I think that probably fits him the most is being called, having his music classified as rockabilly. Most people wouldn't think of somebody being so famous as being buried in a small place like we'll be looking at today, but it goes back a lot of generations here. And the reason it's called the Heron family is because a lot of the Herons are buried there, and Jerry Lee Lewis's mother was a Heron, and I'll go in a little bit more in that in detail in just a few minutes. But we're now coming up on the cemetery here. As we get a little closer, there's not a whole lot of room to park, but you can get off the road enough that somebody could pass you by. And as you can see, this is a very small cemetery, and there is Jerry's grave in the back row there that's standing up the tallest. And the reason I know that is, like I said, I'd been here once before. And the time before when I came in April of 2023, Jerry Lee had only been dead for about 6 months, and they didn't have a marker up then. Took a pause here just a minute to open the gate so I can get on through and talk a little bit more about Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee was the son of Mary, that went by the name Mamie, Heron Lewis, and Elmo Kid Lewis Sr. And it is said that about the age of 10, they would mortgage their home so that Jerry Lee could get his first piano. I've inserted a picture that I took in 2023 to show you what the gravesite looked like at that time. I'm sorry about the sun peeking through the trees and at different angles as I video today, but I'll just do the best I can with it. And I'd already mentioned that Jerry got his piano when he was about 10, and he would practice his piano playing and singing with a couple of his cousins, and they are well known too. One of them would country music star Mickey Gilley, and another one turned out to be a televangelist that is of Jimmy Swaggart. Jerry Lee's first recordings was recorded in Louisiana, which you wouldn't be surprised at that since he was from Louisiana, but he decided later to move to Memphis to do some recording, and he did get in contact with Sam Phillips, and he did some recording and signed contract with Sun Records there. And of course, there's other famous people that you're going to especially know of when I mention them here in just a moment. And he was also not only just a solo singer for Sun Records, he did some session recordings. In other words, he played his piano music for other recorders that was affiliated with Sun Records. And one of those just happened to be Carl Perkins, who he was playing the piano for his recording one day. And in would come Elvis Presley, who was working for Sun Records, and then also another man that is very popular in the country music world, Johnny Cash, showed up that day. And they made history because they were just, singing together and playing their music. And it just happened that Sam Phillips, they said, kept the videos rolling, and he decided that he would, release some of the things that they did that day, and they were referred to as the $1 Million Quartet. After Elvis passed away, Roy Orbison would become the fourth member of the $1 Million Quartet. And now you're looking at some close-up things on Jerry's grave, and one of them is a note there, and you may want to pause it to read it. It is by Graham Knight, and he was a bass player and singer for the group Marmalade, and he was from Scotland. And, of course, I've inserted a picture what the photo looked like in 2023 when I was here, and of course you can tell it's faded. Looked like rain may have got in some of the sign there. There's also a Jerry Lee Lewis record album there, which was the one that said Sings the Country Music Hall of Fame Hits Volume 2. And, oh, good, the sun's not reflected so much on that one. It's a good etching of Jerry Lee playing a piano on his monument, as well as a picture of him and his last wife, and she was wife number 7. Hopefully you can read what's on the front of the marker there without so much reflection on it. And I will say that the slab that covers the whole top of Jerry's grave has just no writing, just a flame on it. And we'll look around to the back side and see if there's anything on that. And as we do that, it doesn't appear to be anything but Lewis on it, and I'm thinking you may not even tell that from all the reflections on it. A couple of other things that are on the marker, in case you didn't already notice it, underneath the engravement part of Jerry playing his piano has a little saying, says, "I love you with all my heart and soul." And under the picture of him and his wife down below it, it says, "I love you more." And the little bitty sign that had a piano saying on it said, "Life is like a piano. What you get out of it depends on how you play it." Now we're going to take a look at family members that are just one row up from Jerry Lee Lewis's gravesite. And the first one we're looking at that has a little lamb on it, looks like maybe a picture was in there and it's gone now, is Steve Allen Lewis. And this is a gravesite of Jerry Lee's 3-year-old son that ended up drowning in a swimming pool. And just below the flat marker part of Jerry Lee's gravesite is that of his dad, Elmo Kid Lewis, and a lot of the places that refer to him as Senior, and the reason being the grave next to it is that of Elmo Kid Lewis Jr. Elmo Lewis Jr. was Jerry Lee's 9-year-old brother that passed away. And next to his grave is Jerry's mother, Mary Lewis, and the H there stands for Heron, which the cemetery is called the Heron Family Cemetery, and she fits into that family, but she went by the name of Mamie. Next to Jerry's mom's grave is that of Jerry's 19-year-old son, Jerry Lee Lewis Jr., and he would pass away from being in a car accident. I'm going to read you what's at the bottom of the markers. It may be a little hard for you to read. It said, "His life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say, in all the world, this was a man." And next to Jerry's son's marker is that of Sean Michelle Lewis. This was Jerry's fifth wife, and they were only married for, I think, 77 days when she passed away. As you look back at the graves, I'd like to mention something I read about Jerry Lee Lewis, that his mom enrolled him at a Southwest Bible Institute in Texas, hoping he'd only play Christian music, but he did at one of the assemblies do one of the Christian songs in a boogie-woogie version, and it is said that Jerry Lee was expelled or sent home that night. Now we're going to take a look at some graves 3 rows up from Jerry, and it is involving the Heron family, which Jerry's mom was a Heron. Those, it says Insminger there. Jeanette on that was Jerry Swaggert's sister, and her husband, Bo, and there is their 2 sons. And W.L. Swaggart was Willie Leon is what that stands for, and that is Jimmy Swaggart's dad. And next to him is Minnie Belle Swaggart, and that is Jimmy Swaggart's mom. And like I said, he was a televangelist and a cousin to Jerry Lee Lewis. He and Mickey Gilley and Jerry were all piano players and all. And now you're going to get to see some of the Heron family here. And that Henry C. Heron there was the brother to both Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimmy Swaggart's mothers. And so that would make him an uncle to Jerry Lee. And I went a little fast, but the grave next to Henry's was John William, which went by Will, and Teresa Lee Heron's marker, and that was the grandparents to both Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimmy Swaggart, as it was their mother's parents. As we're looking around in the cemetery here, I'd like to mention a couple of things that I think is very well worth mentioning about Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee wanted to be on the Grand Ole Opry, and he went to Nashville for that purpose, and he was already on the Louisiana hayride circuit at the time, and so the Grand Ole Opry wouldn't accept him. It is said that Jerry Lee Lewis only played on the Grand Ole Opry one time in 1973. Before closing this video, I have to mention a few of Jerry's accomplishments. He received the Academy of Country Music Award for Piano Keyboard Player of the Year in 1976. He won a Grammy when he was playing with the $1 Million Quartet. Another one for Lifetime Achievement Award. 2 of his songs have been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. He's been inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Delta Music Hall of Fame, Louisiana Hall of Fame, Memphis Music Hall of Fame, and even the Country Music Hall of Fame. And he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In closing, I'd like to say thanks so much for watching my video, and I hope you have a good day.